Hey, Dr. Tom Hansen here of the Play Big Academy, and I'm going to start a short series now on performing under pressure. I've got the Academy is on the road at the moment. We're in Cozumel, Mexico. See a cruise ship there, another cruise ship there. I'll be snorkeling here in a little bit, but I've been out scuba diving. So we're going to talk about the parallels between scuba diving literally performing under pressure. There is water pressure, and there's things that you have to do because you are under pressure that are really life or death things. Now we talk about performing under pressure on the ball field, in the sports field, whatever, on court, whatever you play on. Also in the boardroom. I spent some time last week preparing a CEO for big meetings with a leadership team where they're trying to negotiate some things and a buyout, and there was just a lot of dynamics going on. I wasn't telling him what to do in terms of what deals to cut, but putting yourself in a position where you have what we call access to your talent, like where he could be at his best. And so with the scuba, the first thing that my guy Freddie, I just got certified in August and hadn't done a real dive till I came here. And we're gonna do a shore dive, just meaning walk off the shore and just snorkel there, versus going out on the boat, which we then did in the afternoon and the next day. So the talk that he gave me was just completely the same talk I could have given to an athlete preparing to go out, or an executive preparing for a big meeting, or you're gonna go give a speech, whatever it is, performing under pressure, but we should usually put it in quotation like pressure, because it really isn't pressure by the definition you'd see in a dictionary. Scuba diving, yes, that's literally pressure. But everything else is when we're above water. I mean, yes, there's atmospheric pressure, but we're talking about the pressure that we put on because of how we're perceiving a situation. Do we perceive it as threatening? Then there's a contraction. We go into fight, flight, or freeze. We go into defense mode, and that cuts us off from our talent, our skills. Or do we perceive it as fun, where we feel really free and tend to perform much better? So the first thing my man Freddie said was that it's about, the most important thing is neutral. Now, that's a term gets used a lot in sports. Trevor Moawad has a book about it, a sports psychology guy. And it's not my favorite term because I don't like to think necessarily of, hey, go out there and be neutral. But it does communicate a lot of what's important to get into that place, especially if you're in a negative place, to think of, hey, be positive. That's just too big of a reach. But can you get to neutral, which to me, I think of it as target focus. You focus on executing what you need to execute. You know, the Bill Belichick, hey, do your job. What's your job? Well, I'm super nervous. What's your job? To do that. I'm an X, I gotta block an O, or O, gotta block an X, whichever it goes. That's my job. Bat on ball, get this deal, sell this person, connect with this person. What's your job? So being in a neutral spot is what's important for scuba. With the air in your vest, you have a vest on and you can push a button that fills you up with air, which of course makes you rise up. Or you got another button you can push and lets air out and you go down. So you want to find a spot where you're, for the depth that you're at an equilibrium, or you're at neutral, because then especially here, there's a current going generally this way from up there coming this way, and you're going along the coral, and you want to be in a neutral so that as you breathe in, you go up, and as you exhale, you go down. Well, in the next video, I'll talk about the breathing. But getting yourself to a neutral spot is critical. So what we need to be able to do as performers under pressure is get ourselves to that spot where we're in control. I refer to it as a green light, getting to where you're feeling good, you're in control, you're balanced, because then you, one, have access to your thinking. We can think more clearly when we're in that balanced place, kind of floating along, where we can think clearly and also have access. We're not restrained in our muscular tension. Normally, for throwing, hitting, whatever it would be, when you've got no excess tension, it wouldn't necessarily be, maybe it's relaxed, maybe it's not, but you don't have excess tension, you're able to execute the skills more freely. There isn't anything interrupting your motor program. So you're able to do that much better. You're able to think more clearly and have less restrictions in the motor programs if you are in that neutral spot in control. So performing under pressure and with scuba, it really is life or death. The first thing to do, first thing like I emphasize, getting into a neutral, so getting into a state where you have that sense of control is key. And what the key for me then was to practice that. To practice that breathing and get the regulator in. You got to be able to regulate yourself, and you could say sports psychology, a big part of it is self-regulation. You're your own regulator, but the thing that you stick in your mouth in scuba is called a regulator. So we'll just go with that for now. In another video, I'll go more. So you gotta put that in and just breathe so you get used to that. And then just go under the water and hang out there and get used to that. And I will say, I was very nervous, very anxious, loud voice in my head saying, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. Some reason it really just hit me. I'm not doing this, much less going out in a boat and falling off a boat, going down 50, 60 feet underwater. Not doing it. So I had to use my breath, use my self-regulation tools, take some time, be compassionate with myself, then go and do it. So I'll expand on that more later, but I just want to keep keep my focus on this idea of neutral, of getting into a good place, practice it, and come into whatever you're doing, come in with that, rather than having to set that once you're in it. So that's the whole piece on mental preparation. So, and really physical preparation, because there isn't a mental game, physical game. There is a human playing sports or a human being an executive. So this whole idea of being under control, doing certain things to help you handle the pressure is what this is about, and covered a number of things here. Want that first one to be, hey, I want to get to a place. What is the state that I want to be in? For Freddie, for me, it was like, hey, this neutral place. That's, be clear on the state that you want to get to, and that's neutral for scuba. What is it for you for the thing that you want to do? So that's the first in the series here on performing under pressure and using scuba as a metaphor for that. If you want my help, there'll be links for sports performance, for executive performance, links down below here to check out. And I'll be back shortly with another one of these performing under pressures from the Play Big Academy. So get out there and play big.